Maybe because it's the way the city's built, but I've always thought of St. Louis as a really solid kind of place. Solid as in dependable, and sometimes solid as in immobile, stubborn. You know, trying to get people to change here is like beating your head against a brick wall. That kind of solid. Now, some cities have reputations as being more vibrant, more cutting edge, but I tell you what, it is tough to top St. Louis when it comes to brick walls.
St. Louis really is Brick City, I call it. If you walk through the neighborhoods in the city and even in University City or the Central West End, you see the most incredible detail. The artistry and the workmanship that was put into building even the most modest home in the city is just incredible.
In the basement of this not-so-modest home, the couple's house on St. Louis University's campus, Pamela Ambrose and Larry Giles are getting ready for a brick-by-brick, Building St. Louis and the Nation, a new exhibition opening at SLU's Museum of Art. The exhibition chronicles St. Louis's brick-making history and illustrates how important the industry was to our architecture. Almost the entire collection of bricks, maps, magazines, photographs, and advertising was lent to the exhibition by Larry Giles, a building preservationist. He recognizes the impact the brick industry has had on our history.
The brick industry here, which was probably the most important brick industry in the United States, having the largest influence, is a significant part of the story.
I don't know of any other city except for maybe Pittsburgh and Baltimore that has quite as much brick as we have here in St. Louis. And it's not just, you know, the red common brick that everybody says, oh yeah, that's a brick. But it's the buff brick, it's the textured brick, it's this enamel brick.
You can't tell now, but the western edge of St. Louis, all along Manchester, was once lined with clay mines and brick-making factories. In fact, the neighborhoods of the Hill and Dogtown grew up around this industry.
This film is from the Laclede Christie clay mines and refractories in Dogtown, dated around 1930 when St. Louis was still the leading producer of brick in the United States. And why wouldn't we be? This area was once filled with rich deposits of clay, which is the ingredient for brickmaking. Laclede Christie was just one of many successful brick companies in town.
The entire area of Dogtown is built over the top of 27 abandoned mines. In 1852, when the railroad came, immediately afterwards, brick companies began to spring up. The first, and actually the one that was always the largest, was the Laclede Brick Company. And it opened up in 1854. And the overwhelming amount of employment in the 19th century and all the way up to the early part of the 20th century was in either mining or brickmaking.
If you want to know about the brick industry or anything involving the history of Dogtown for that matter, Bob Corbett's your man. He's a member of the Dogtown Historical Society, and he's a brick collector.
The way I've laid the bricks out for display in my top of my bookcases are the different companies and then models of one of a sort of various brand names, and these are the primary fire bricks that I have. What was made here were generally not the red building brick. What were made here were called fire brick, and they're used for furnaces, they're used for big boilers and things that one would have to use. They also use the same clay to make sewer pipe because the gases create great heats and you need fire resistance capability.
So they're called fire brick because
That's right.
of their fire resistance, not because of how they're fired.
Not how they're made, but the clay they're made from. They're made from fire clay.
But just like all good things, the booming brick industry in St. Louis eventually faded away.
One, the clay itself was petering out, And secondly, there were alternative materials were being used to brick, and brick wasn't commanding quite the market price it was. For the last number of years, three of the factories, the Winkle Terracotta Factory, Laclede Christie Company, and the Evans and Howard, all stayed open into the 1950s. But by that time, they were importing all of their clay from outstate Missouri.
And then this is where these full-page things start. Here. No.
Even though there are no obvious signs St. Louis was a brick manufacturing capital, the industry has definitely left a permanent mark on our city.
I would suggest anybody who really loves to walk to just walk up and down streets like Arsenal or Magnolia or Utah Place, or go down to Soulard, and you see a sort of anthology or compendium of design in art history that was put into this brick.